Hello again. Today we're going to talk about getting ready and finding sellers. Now this is a huge topic when we're talking about auctions. Obviously, we need sellers to have auctions. We need to have items to sell. So depending on your business model, this might not be something you're diving into too deep right away. You might be selling your own assets, procuring your own items to sell. But I think there's going to be some good nuggets in here regardless, whether you sell on consignment or if you sell your own stuff, or if you're looking to potentially take consignments down the road. So as we get going into this, the main question is, what is the one common theme that every single auction seller has? And just take a second to think about what that is. What is the one common theme that every single auction seller, with every single auction seller? It's not too terribly difficult. But what it is that every auction seller has a root of a problem that needs to be solved. And our goal is to solve that problem. That's really what we do is we're problem solvers. We help them out of tough situations. And that problem could be logistical. It could be financial. It could be money related. It could certainly be time related. We get a lot of phone calls of, hey, I need to be out by the end of the month and it's already the 20th. That's a big problem. And there's only a few companies or a few industries that are able to solve that problem. Space could be one of those issues or problems. Certainly family, when you're dealing with an estate or a loved one who's passed away. These are all of the problems that we try to provide solutions for. And what better way to do that than with or through online auctions with KBID. So as we're looking at auction sellers, what I've done here is just put them into two totally different categories. There's your perfect seller and your imperfect seller. Now the reality is you're going to get mixtures of both of these columns when you're talking with the general public. But to go through what a perfect seller looks like, it starts with motivation. They have a problem that we just talked about. There's a motivation to sell. They have realistic market expectations. They don't want to get a price that they paid for that item 10 years ago. You paid 10 grand for it 10 years ago, you're not going to get 10 grand for it now. And just because it's listed somewhere for $7,000 doesn't mean it's selling for $7,000. So really big topic. We'll get into more of that later. Perfect seller has little to no emotional connection to the assets. That can be a big one. They value your expertise and is coachable or teachable. And they trust in the auction process. They trust that you know what you're doing and that the auction process itself is the truest way to find the ultimate value of the item. Now, the imperfect auction seller, they don't need to sell. They have a year to put it on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and they have a dream price. That is not going to work out very well for you in an auction setting. They base their value on inaccurate data. They see listing prices on Facebook, or they see listing prices on eBay, the things that just really aren't selling, or maybe they sold for that price 5 years ago, but that's not selling at that price now. They're emotionally tied to the assets. We do a lot of auctions for families, and there's going to be emotions involved. Now, just because someone's emotionally tied to the assets doesn't mean we can't do the auction. It's just, how do we deal with that? How do we manage that? They believe that they can do it better themselves. If they don't trust in your abilities and the auction process itself, it's going to be really tough to show them what you can do and help them get to a successful auction. And kind of coaching them from the beginning is really the best way to get through that. So who are some of these perfect sellers? Good people to know. It's those people who are part of a domino effect. They can not only get you one auction, but multiple auctions. It's the bankers. Bankers are, a great resource. They're working with businesses all the time, small, medium, large. Smaller banks will be easier to get in with because there's only one vice president. There's only one president of the local bank that only has 2 branches. A Wells Fargo or US Bank, you're looking at 75 vice presidents that all have different wings of the business that they operate. So, starts with the smaller banks getting comfortable, going in there, talking with someone, telling them what you do, providing a solution to a potential problem that they will have at some point in the future. And if they don't have it, at least they can provide you as a resource to some of their clients or some of their individuals who bank with them. A ton of auctions are done for financial institutions. Next, most public institutions, school districts, they have grounds to maintain. They have woodworking shops. They have way more than you might think. And periodically they need to sell and buy new, or they've stopped doing this aspect of their school and they need to have it sold. We have a lot of contracts, or a lot of affiliates have contracts with school districts. Same goes with police and fire department. Really, really good contacts to have. Police not just having their squad cars, they could have impounded vehicles, they could have their evidence room, which is very common. You'll see that on KBIT all the time, the evidence room, because if those items are never claimed, if it's stolen and it's never claimed, they become property of the police department, who then has to sell it in a public auction, and those funds actually go back into the police department's budget. So it's a good thing for them. And usually there's some pretty unique items in there. Fire departments as well, they have vehicles. They don't have, the smaller fire departments will not have huge budgets, so they're very budget conscious, but they take very good care of their equipment and their vehicles, and those items always sell well. Next in line, cities, county workers. Some of the best contracts you could get are with cities and counties. Again, they have all these things to maintain. They need equipment. They need equipment that won't break down. So they do have to sell it every 2 to 3 years or 4 years, whatever the time frame may be. And that starts with knowing who to talk to, who to get in with those cities and counties, and growing that relationship. You're going to have to compete against other auction companies or other auctioneers, and maybe even other affiliates to get that job. But they're very lucrative. They're very good auctions, and they get a great response from the public. Lawyers, probate attorneys, they're dealing with death, divorce, all those things, all those transitional times in life where assets sometimes need to be sold. Again, it's getting in front of them. It's creating relationships with those people. It's letting them know what you do. Saying that I'm an online auctioneer, doesn't necessarily, maybe they don't know that you do business liquidations if someone's going through a divorce and they own a business and they have to sell everything off. It's making that connection and letting them know what you do and how you can help them. Obviously, real estate professionals and investors, we have worked with a lot of investors who will buy a building and the previous tenant of that building couldn't pay rent or up and skip town, and there's a full building of stuff that needs to be sold. Now, this happens quite more often than you would think. And those investors, they don't want to deal with it. They want that stuff out of there as soon as they can. Obviously, so they can rent it again, but they would hope for getting a good value, good price out of it, and that's what we can provide. And then lastly, most business owners, if there's a warehouse in a business, they have stuff that has been sitting in that corner for far too long. So knowing which businesses to approach and to get to know and to network with is important, and not just going in with we can help sell, but growing that relationship and showing them, hey, we can help you find stuff to buy as well. There's other things that we can do. So who are some of these perfect sellers? Again, the perfect situation for you as an affiliate is that recurring revenue. It's the repeat sellers. And a lot of the people on that last list, if you create a relationship where they like, trust, and know you, there's likelihood that you're going to have more than one auction out of that relationship. And that's really what we're looking for, where you can rely on that every quarter, every 6 months, every once a year, that they're going to call you because you're the trusted resource that they want to use to liquidate their items. And if you can grow your book of business of repeat sellers and recurring revenue, that is the best place that you can be as an affiliate. That's what you should be striving for, because now you're not out there knocking on doors trying to find your next paycheck all the time. It's, okay, we can rely on these 3 auctions in this next quarter, or this one's coming up in fall. You know, you can start putting some of those things on your calendar and working around that. And then you have a little bit more stability in your business and in your cash flow. So how do we find sellers? The good news, at least here in Minnesota, there's a ton of business. There's 400,000 small businesses in Minnesota alone. Of that, 25 of them are Fortune 1000 companies. So these are big, big businesses. There's 5.5 million people that live here with a $300 billion GDP. So what does that mean? And if you're not in Minnesota, the numbers are going to be just as large where you're at. But what that tells me is there's opportunity everywhere, and we are barely scratching the surface. If we're doing $30 million in sales on a website, out of these numbers, there's a ton of opportunity out there where people don't even know what we do or how we can help them. So you can get creative too. You don't always have to go after the prototypical type of seller. You can have relationships with manufacturers who build new products that you can buy at wholesale and sell at auction. There are so many opportunities, I think, in this business that's really exciting for me, at least, to see that, you know, there's a lot of growth that will be had. And especially now where almost everything is going online, to show that this service can help people is really exciting. Now, what we got to realize is that eyes are everywhere. Your sellers are always looking at what you're doing. And this quote here I love is, you can advertise that you do auctions, or you can get out there and do auctions. And what it means by that is your best promotion is the product that you put out there. So are you taking the time and effort to make sure that monthly auction that you're doing, even if it's just, you know, a small amount of consignment items, but is that the best product that you can put out there? Because, you know, if I'm a seller and I'm looking at a website that might have 150 auctions online, you bet I'm going to take a look at what you're doing and how it looks. And if I buy something, what is my experience there? The eyes are always on you, and the auctions that you do are going to be your best sales tool. I see it time and time and time again where an affiliate will have an auction, say a restaurant liquidation, that does really well. They did amazing pictures, really good descriptions. The lighting was great. Everything looked good. The prices exceeded expectations. We put together a marketing plan. It worked really well. It took off on our marketing plan. What I'll see in 2 more months is that affiliate will have another restaurant liquidation close to that area. And there's a reason for that, is people are watching. And it's likely that someone who purchased from that auction, maybe they own 3 other restaurants. You know, take the opportunities that you have in front of you where you're dealing with the general public, you're dealing with buyers, and show off the best part of your business, because you never know where that next job will come from. It's the scary part and the good part about our business. I'll talk to affiliates and they'll be a little concerned if the phone stopped ringing for 1 week, and then the next 2 weeks, the phone won't stop ringing. And now they have more auctions to do than they can even hope to manage. That's the kind of exciting and kind of scary part of this business is we don't know where the next paycheck is coming from. So it's interesting to see that dynamic. Take advantage of signage wherever you are. If you're doing a liquidation on site at a seller's location and there's foot traffic or there's a road out front that has a lot of traffic, take advantage of that. The word auction will create excitement. It will get people coming in. It will get phone calls to you. Do not lose that opportunity to get your eyeballs or get more eyeballs on your business. I would recommend we have some banners available that have auction online now. I'll share a link with those options that we have. But I would recommend having your website on there if you have your own website created. I'd recommend having your phone number on that banner. You know, see how many phone calls you get in a week when you put it out there of what's going on. Again, the term auction creates excitement, creates questions. It's, you know, what's going on here? You know, how does this all work? And all that's good. That's just getting you in front of more people. And you'd be surprised how often people will comment on your clothing if you're wearing an auction branded shirt. I am wearing a KBID shirt right now. I went to Starbucks this morning and the barista asked me, about KBID online auctions. It's interesting business. It happens daily. So just be aware of that if you're out in the community. Wear your brand, wear a hat, give hats away. The more people that are wearing your brand, the more recognition you're going to have in the community, especially if you're in a smaller, tighter knit community. And always have a business card available. Have some brochures in your vehicle so that you're ready when those conversations come up, because you never really know where that next conversation is going to happen. Get involved in your community, in the events going on in the community, in the become a vendor at local community events. It's a great way to get involved. Now, we all know networking is everything in sales, and that's no different here in auctions. It's all about who you know, not necessarily what you know. Obviously, you want to know as much as you can about what you do, but knowing who to talk to is the biggest first step. So if we want to get those perfect sellers, we want to be growing long-term relationships with these people. So what I would do if I was a new affiliate is I would determine, where my strengths are. What do I know really well? If it's industrial machinery, that's where I would start. If it's antiques, that's where I would start. If it's baseball cards, that's where I'd start, or vehicles, because I'd be able to talk intelligently about those assets with my sellers. And once you're able to do that, then you can start getting comfortable with the conversations that you need to have, and just replicate over and over and over again, adjust, adapt your conversations, how you speak with your sellers, what you need to tell them, how you coach them through the process, and you'll just incrementally get better and better. We have a lot of promotional material available for affiliates, and that'll be in the knowledge base as well, which I'll share a link. There's just a ton of really great stuff. I'll do another video that shows what we have available that you can download. We have a seller's guide, which is really good. Actually, I have one right here. We have our KBID auction seller's guide. It's a professionally printed brochure that we can send out to affiliates that shares what we do. It's got some great numbers in there, great imagery. I'd highly encourage you to check those out. Now, in sales, we do need that elevator pitch. We need the ability to quickly tell people what we do. And the reason that we talk about this here is if you're not from the auction business, you don't have an elevator pitch yet. And if you don't practice one, when the time comes for you to sell your service, you're going to be flat-footed. And that's what you don't want. But when you're talking with prospects, there are other things that we can do as well that isn't necessarily, hey, I want to sell your stuff. It's, hey, well, you can buy from our auctions too. Hey, we sold this antique set of whatever it was last week. I thought you might be interested in it. Here's the next thing we have coming up next week. Those types of conversations are great. And in this example, you could say, hey, I'm from XYZ Auction Company, and we see tons of auctions, not just from us, but from 100 plus other affiliates on KBID. If you're looking for something in particular for your business, let me know what that is, because I'll keep an eye out for you. I'll send you a link if I see it come up on the next auction or on someone else's auction. So now what you're doing here is you're having a nice little icebreaker, and you're establishing yourself as the auction professional. That's what you do. You help people buy and sell assets. And maybe you're not even the one selling it, but you find it on another auction that's 100 miles away. If you help someone out that way, now you're just establishing yourself as that expert. And hopefully, down the road, if they ever need to sell, you'll be the first call that they'll make. Finding sellers online. So we do have an affiliate profile on KBID, and you'll see that on the Sell Here button on the homepage of KBID if you go there. So what it does is it shows a map of all of our affiliates. And within that map, if they click on your name, it'll have your profile. What do you do? How long have you been doing it? What do you specialize in? This is your opportunity to sell yourself. And we funnel all of our seller leads to that affiliate directory. We still get phone calls quite a bit, but most of the sellers are directed to that directory, and they're looking at your current auctions and they're looking at your profile. So take a good half hour, think about what you're going to say about yourself, look at other affiliates, and really take that opportunity. Don't miss it, because there's a lot of business out there that sellers are looking through that, and they want to find someone who fits what they need. So fill that out. Don't don't obviously be truthful in what your experience is and what your abilities are, but take advantage of that affiliate profile. Now, how else can you attract people online? Obviously, through your own website. And I'm a huge proponent of separate branding through your own website, because when someone searches for auctioneer in St. Cloud, Minnesota, KBID will probably show up, but wouldn't it be better if your auction company was at the top of that list if you're in St. Cloud? And that's what we see here in this Google page, the map. When people are searching for different products and services, you want to be found in those local searches. And you can't do that, or it's very hard to do that if you don't have your own website. And the good news is that websites today are dramatically cheaper than they used to be. You can go through Wix, Weebly, GoDaddy, WordPress. There's a ton of different options out there that allow you to really drag and drop a lot of things. You don't need to know coding. It's fairly straightforward to do. If you want to take a look at a website that I've created for one of our affiliates, just go to LorettoEquipment.com. We helped them with that website a couple of years ago, and they still, they're regularly getting sellers and buyers that go to their website and contact them. That's your opportunity to sell yourself. That's your opportunity to show off that awesome auction that you had last month, or to get a seller testimonial and put that right on the homepage. Because as we'll talk about in a little bit, sellers want to know that they're making the right decision. So having another third party who promotes you is going to be way more effective than us just promoting ourselves. Now, we all know the importance and the relevance of social media these days. It's an insanely powerful tool for business. It has replaced traditional media for a lot of people that are getting their news and updates. A lot of people are going to social media, whether that's right or wrong, we don't know, but that's just what people are doing. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Nextdoor, those are all great platforms to focus on depending on what your business model is, what you're doing. We spend a lot of energy and money through Facebook and Instagram right now, and dollar for dollar, if you're looking to spend money through social media, Facebook is going to be likely your best bet. And we'll get into that more into a more in-depth video. There's just way too much to talk about. But if I was an affiliate, I would start and focus on creating my Facebook business page, my Facebook or my Instagram business page, and my LinkedIn business page as well. And the reason that I say LinkedIn in this list is I do think that it's coming back a little bit in relevance, in popularity. You're seeing more people active on there, but it's not something that you can just create and then forget. You do have to put up content. You do have to interact with people. You do have to get your friends and family to like your page first, and then start promoting it. You can promote it on your website. You can promote it on your auctions. If you use your social media effectively, you tell all of the buyers that regularly show up to your auctions and say, hey, follow us on Facebook. We're going to post every time we have a new auction. Now, this is a way to just keep yourself top of mind. You're growing your own brand as well. We're obviously going to promote KBID as widely as we possibly can through a ton of different avenues, but there are small things that you can do as an independent business to grow your following, grow your brand, and increase your business as well. Some best practices when you're working through your social media and posting. Don't just show the auctions. Don't just show the assets that you're selling. Make it personable. Show yourself, show an auction setup, show the behind the scenes of an inspection. Do a video walkthrough of what you have coming up next week. I believe that the live videos that you see on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else, almost every platform has a live media or live video function now. The traditional live inspections are going to be on the wayside or going out, because the ability for us to do effective video inspections is here now. And I think it's just up to us to implement it and allow buyers to take advantage of it. There's a ton that we can do through video. And what I will promise you is, if you create engaging content, if you make videos and share them with me or share them with our marketing team, you are likely going to get free promotion out of it, because we're always looking for that content that shows the human side of our business. So if you create a video of you and your seller walking through an upcoming auction, I'll share that right away. You're going to get free promotion immediately. So keep that in mind. We're always looking for that great content that shows what we do and the human side of the business. We're not just stuff on a website. We are humans that are interacting with sellers and buyers. And, there's a lot that goes into this business. Creating social proof. So why is this important for finding sellers, and what the heck is social proof anyway? Well, whether we know it or not, social proof is how we interact. It's how we make purchasing decisions today in this day and age. It's looking on Amazon for similar items and looking at the ratings in the bottom. You're looking at the star ratings. You're looking at the reviews. It's going to Yelp to decide between new restaurants. It's calling a plumber with the highest rating on Google Maps, maybe even unconsciously. It's checking Rotten Tomatoes for a movie rating. If you do anything online, there's a great likelihood that you're using social proof to make your decision. And just think about the last time you've Googled any kind of service locally to you. The map's going to show up. It's going to give you a star rating. It's going to give you how many reviews they have. Now think, is that important to you as you're making these decisions, as you're calling different people? I had to get my chimney looked at. I just did this morning. I looked at chimney repair places in St. Paul, where I currently live, and 100 different companies popped up. Well, guess what I did? I started reviewing, or I started looking at the reviews. I started looking at what people say about them. Why do I do that? Because I don't want to make the wrong decision. I want to know that this person knows what they're doing, that they're fair and reasonable and likable and all those things. And that's what social proof can do. So sellers and buyers are looking for that social proof because of what I just said. People are afraid of being taken advantage of or making the wrong decision. No one wants to look dumb. Social proof kind of gives you that instant gratification that we've made the right decision. At the end of the day, this is not a cheeseburger when we're talking about auctions. It's potentially tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in assets that we're selling. It's a really big decision. So making people feel comfortable, letting them know that you've done this before by sharing that social proof is huge, and it's going to be even bigger going forward. So I would encourage you to really take a look at how you do things and how can you grow that social proof for your business. And there's three main things that you can do. What I would do is drive people to review you through Facebook and through Google My Business. And if you don't have a Google My Business page, you're going to want to create one and link that to your website, link that with your social media pages, put your phone number on there, your email. That's what gets you seen on Google when people search for products and services. You'll show up on the map, your ratings will be there. What you're going to want to do is start telling your buyers and your sellers, hey, if you liked what you saw today, the service that you got, we'd really appreciate it if you give us a review on Google or on Facebook. Those are going to be the two areas that you're really going to want to focus right now. And also creating testimonials. You know, that's another version of social proof. It's not just a star rating. It could be a video of the seller that you worked with last month stating, hey, this was my problem. My husband passed away. I was moving and downsizing. I had a really tough time going through the process, and XYZ affiliate came in and they took care of everything. Now imagine that story coming from a seller. Imagine the impact that could have on someone who's maybe not in the same situation, but a similar situation. It's that empathy that you've shown, the ability to get results. If you can get that in paper, in writing, even better yet, in video, it will pay off dividends for you. So I would encourage you to look at your process and always look for opportunities to ask and create those testimonials and create that social proof, because it is massively important in today's day and age and how we operate and make our purchasing decisions. Finding sellers, another good, this is kind of a big switch here, but a nice little tip. I'm a big fan of Google, and they have a product called Google Alerts that you can put in keywords. And in this case, I put in Minnesota auction, Minnesota bankruptcy, and Minnesota business closing. And what this will do is every time there's a news story or news publication that comes up with a story that has those keywords, it's going to shoot me an email. So I'm going to know that Dick's Sporting Goods is going under bankruptcy in the next 3 weeks. Now, what can you do with that information is, up to you. You don't want to be out there, knocking on doors the day after someone has to close their business. But just being aware of what's going on has really helped me. You can create these keywords for anything, any type of business. I've found it to be helpful for me just to know what's going on in the business around me. I can see, what businesses are closing. You can make this hyper local to your area too. You could make it, Hutchinson auction, Hutchinson bankruptcy, all of those things that are close to your location. Finding sellers through a referral program. This business is referral based. We're hoping to go out there and find sellers through, what we do on social media and the social proof that we've created. But your best seller, your best business is going to come from the mouth of a previous client. And that's what creating a referral program can help you do. So what does a referral program look like? Perhaps you have it on the back of your business card, now accepting referrals. We will pay up to $500 in a referral fee. Now that may sound like a lot of money, but if we're talking about a $50,000 auction and you're at a 20% commission rate, where you're making 10 grand, maybe 6 after all your expenses, that $500, that's great money to give away to someone, and it makes it worthwhile for them. So how can you, or some best practices for creating your own sales force through a referral program? Follow through with that referral fee. If you're offering it, make it worthwhile. A $20 gift card probably isn't going to get that much excitement going, but a $500 referral fee in cash, now you got my attention. Set boundaries, but don't push. Know the situation. A referral fee to a government employee to get a government auction is dangerously close to a bribe. So know who you can and cannot offer that referral fee to, and just know the situation. Be smart about it. Don't overstep. And most of your previous customers, if you did a sale for someone recently, most would be happy to give you a referral in the future. Don't be afraid to ask, and tell your clients, tell your customers, hey, I'm a small business that relies on word of mouth from my customers. So it would be a great help to me and to my family if you could hand out these 10 business cards, or just let anyone else know who's in your situation. Tell them what we did. Tell them how we worked with you. Tell them about the results that we were able to get for you. Again, that's one thing that will pay off dividends for you down the road. Finding sellers continued. The reality is here, guys and gals, our contact information is online and it's for sale. My email address, you can pull it up within 5 minutes. My phone number, hopefully not my cell, but my work number, you can pull that up within 5 minutes. What you can't find online right now, you can most likely buy through a number of different resources. Lead sales and lead generation is rampant in America. You can buy down to the narrowest of types of customers that you want to find through different resources such as Info USA. I could search for fleet managers in businesses in Hennepin County that have over 20,000 square feet, that have less than 30 employees. You know, that's how narrow you can get your searches to be. So once you figure out who that ideal customer is for you, you can replicate that. You can find other people who look like your ideal customer through different resources. And the greatest part is most of that information is public facing. It just takes a little bit of research. I've put in an email address before from a potential lead that I was looking at, and what I found was a public facing Excel sheet with about 750 other leads exactly like that person. So be careful with that, but just know that, you know, doing a little bit of research online, you can get the contact information for a ton of different people. There's a lot of associations that will even have public facing databases where you can find phone numbers, email addresses for the owners of different companies. And just be thoughtful and be conscious of how you reach out to these people. I wouldn't be hounding them, but you know, maybe a phone call once a quarter saying, hey, I'm from XYZ Auction Company. I found your number online. You were referred to me. This is what we do. Just wondering if at any point in the future we can help you out. We'd love to earn your business. You know, that takes you 45 seconds. You know, cold calling is never fun, but it does produce results. And you see it from salespeople all over the world all the time. So that wraps up the initial aspect of finding sellers, you know, why it's so important, some things that you can do and some things that you can look at to help find those sellers. If this was easy, if there was a playbook, it would it'd already be done and I'd be sharing it with you. Get creative. Take what we've shared with you today. If you have other suggestions for us, let me know. There's a ton of things that we can do to get our name and get our brand out there. And we hope that this was a informational video for you. Thanks. We'll see you in the next one.